Take 57, really. Feel like I'm making a Liberty Bibbity commercial here. Hey, how's everybody doing? This is Doug in Houston, Texas. I've got some spare time on my hand with this coronavirus thing we're all having to deal with. So I hope you guys are staying safe and finding ways to keep yourself entertained. A lot of friends who have come by to visit my shop have suggested that I should make a video, put it out there so you guys could see some features of the office and the shop. So I thought while I had some time I'd do that. It's called Fleet's Wood Shop. That is a play on the word Fleetwood, not my favorite rock and roll band, but a 64 Fleetwood Cadillac that I had back in 81 and 82. I had to wound up taking the back seats out of that car and used it to haul tools around from job site to job site. So that's where the name Fleetwood came from, which is part of my business name. The shop and office combined are about a little over 4,000 square feet. About 2,800 square feet of that is shop area. It's divided into 3 sections. All 3 are air conditioned. It do get hot here in Houston. There is a lot of exotic woods used in the building of my shop and the components of my shop. It also has crown mold in it. I know that's over the top and unnecessary, but that's the way I like it. So that's how I do it. I like it neat and clean, so I keep it nice and clean. I'm blessed to have one of my employees, Mr. Berto, who in his spare time helps me keep the shop nice and clean. So I'd like to take a minute and give you guys a tour of it. And I'll put in a few stills here of the office area first, and then we'll get into the shop. Alrighty, let's go take a look at the wood shop. Hope y'all enjoy. If you do, please enjoy the video and like the shop. Please give me one of those thumbs up. We don't like those thumbs down around here. If you absolutely have to and don't like it, I'll take a sideways thumb. Thank you now. Okay, walking out of the office area into the shop. Immediately off to the right is the general purpose workbench. It's designed so you can walk on it to get to the tools that are stored on the top. That black rail you see running around, that pipe is the handrail. And there is electrical, air, and dust collection hanging from above and built in below. Off to the side of the overhead door is the ladder storage. Give you a little sweep of this area first. There's a small press, 2 sanders. If y'all haven't seen this Delta sander before, the sanding head tilts, not the bed. which allows you to keep your workpiece firm on the table and flat and level, easy to work on. And with the metal chop saw, the welding area, the blasting cabinet, the sink, cord storage on the stairwell. Up above the stairwell is a mezzanine area on top of the office for storage. Coming right out of the office door there, immediately to the right, is a screw storage bin. Then inside of this door is where tools are stored that are taken out to a job. This is inside that tool storage room. The workbench is built out of red oak, walnut, bloodwood, and a little bit of teak. All the oak fronts, the grain is contiguous, running all the way through, if you look real close. All the way down. Makes for a nice detailed look. This is a true statement. I recently upgraded all my cordless tools to this Milwaukee 18 line. I really like these tools, the accessories, the battery life, the durability, well built. Can't say enough good things about them. Over on this side of the bench is the charging station for the Milwaukees. I keep it covered. I also keep a kill switch on all my charging stations. I've had problems in years past with leaving chargers plugged in. To the right of the charging station is the drill press, the grinder, and the vise. I also keep the chop saws right in that drawer below the vise. It's real handy to have them right here by the vise. I'll show y'all a couple of snapshots of inside a few of the drawers. I won't bore you with all of them. All the tools inside, I use that Krager foam, and that was about 8-9 years ago, and it's been holding up very well. These little Proxton carving tools are very durable, well built little machines. I can't say enough good about those. I really love them. Yes, I keep all my tools nice and clean and organized, with a little help, that is. When I was deciding what trays to use for the bin, I checked, and on Stack-On's website there was a gentleman who had put a comment that he wouldn't store cotton balls in the trays. He thought they were that flimsy. Well, that's 6 pounds of steel. And these drawers have held up. I've had no breakage. They're flexible. Very nice. Here's a thank you to Stack-On. Behind these sliding doors are the pneumatic tools. some of them. With another small 2-inch dust port and a switch to turn it on. The dust collector for that little 2-inch port in the workbench is here behind it, where I can get to it very shop. I refer to this area, the shop, as the general purpose area. Small metal cut-offs, wood cut-offs. Couple of things unfinished. Up above, there's ladder storage, scaffolding storage. See if I can get this for y'all. And little miscellaneous long items. Walking into the first part of the wood shop, coming through the air door here. Immediately to the right are the 3 band saws with the clamp wall. The band saws, the big one here on the right is for resawing, and the 2 smaller ones have a 3/4 and a 1/4 inch blade. Right here up next to the wall we have sitting the saw stop. I recently upgraded this from my Delta Unisaw. I really liked that Unisaw, but I really love the safety feature of the saw stop and the quality, the durability of the saw. I built it in around a cabinet. All the cabinets are rounded on the base, very easily slide and roll out of the way so that you can get to it to access the saw underneath when you need to. I did not use saw stop's leg support on the sliding table. I used their leg to build an outrigger to hold the table, which worked very well and kept those legs out of the way. Again, all these things around the front and the side pull out of the way. I've got about 18 foot of cut radius. When the door's open, that is. 12 feet if the door's not open. Antique tools from my uncles and fathers and friends have given me go around the top. You can truly never have enough clamps. I seem to use a lot of these and even run out of a certain one. The dust collector for this portion of the shop is a power Matic. All the duct pipe is piped in metal above the drop ceiling, all grounded out. The power Matic planer sits right here next to the center workbench. The center workbench is roughly about 7 foot by 11 foot. It's built out of oak, walnut, piranha pine, purple heart, wangay, and mahogany. Been refinished about 100 times over the last 15 years. Gets beat up pretty well. Hanging above that workbench is also electrical air dust collection, tape measures, magnifying glass. All the drawers below pull out. I've got one of my Festool sanders set up here. There's some storage up in this little area, but I basically built it to put some lights down on the workbench and run the electrical and the dust collection and the air through. Over coming next to the door is a wood storage rack. Show y'all how those drawers work. They have 60-inch 500-pound slides on them, and I keep all the cut-offs, miscellaneous pieces, little turning blocks, all that good stuff. There's also 60-inch 500-pound drawer tracks here on the back of the outfeed table. This is where I store the blades on the first drawer. Some of the table saw accessories. And the third drawer down below it has some shop-built table saw jigs. Going around the back side of the table saw, get to this portion of the clamp wall. And there's doors on this side. Over to the left side of that wood storage rack is an accessory storage center. These drawers all slide to the left and right, so you can access the ones behind them. These units in these upper cabinets are designed so us short people can pull them down and then just push them back in. Here's the miter saw table off to the right here. I recently rebuilt it. I had a chop saw and one miter box on it, and I found having two miter boxes was much more helpful. I took the cover off of this station so y'all could see it clearly. For the Milwaukee tools, again, I keep the kill station, the charge station, on a kill switch. You don't want power flowing to those things night and day. I had a problem with that in the past. The batteries, the rest of the Milwaukee hand tools. As we go down the bench, we have the two chop saws. These saws are very accurate. You can adjust them if need be. Very nice layout. Coming back along this side, the workbench from this end, and I've got 17 feet of cut length here. The doors below are made of a wood called pink flame and several others. The banding molding here is yellow heart, walnut, red oak, and wenge. Hope you like the piano. Love to say I did it myself. Above the workbench are storage cabinets. I've got samples of book match wood panels. Each door has a different wood on it. In the center between the workbench and the miter saw station, I have the Matic 12-inch. Two fans, one on each side. Open up the back door, turn them on, turn the filters on, and keep all the dust out of the way and gone. The joiner was also recently upgraded, probably 2 years ago. I had an 8-inch here for a while, and really appreciate having this 12-inch here now. The miter boxes are also wired through a 20-amp switch, so when it comes time for blade changing, you can just reach right behind them and easily kill the power without having to go below the cabinets to plug them, unplug them, and plug them back in. Sitting here on the sidewall, coming around, you have the Matic drill press. Love this drill press. The only feature with it is the LED lights stay on constantly. You have to unplug the drill to turn the LEDs off, and one of them started to burn out on me. So I went ahead and had that fixed, and then I wired the drill through a kill switch also, which is mounted up there on the back side, which kills the power to the LEDs when the drill's not being used. Make them last a lot longer. Next to the drill press, I have the small Delta lathe, which I use strictly for buffing. The Nova lathe sits next to that. Very nice lathe. Really like using this tool. Little sanders. And then the Delta lathe. I built an overhead on this lathe to add some additional lighting right down on the surface. And I also got tired of laying tools on my workbed and having them fall off. So I built in a little magnetic tool rack above it. Let me turn some lights on it so y'all can see it a little better. There we go. When the lights are turned on, it really lights up. You can just hang the tools right above you and they stay out of the way. Real nice to have. Some bowls that are finished but not finished. That's Queen's wood and walnut. They blend together very nicely. And all the drawers are nice and neat. Keep the tools clean and out of the way and close and handy. And over here to the side of that Delta, we have the lacquer buffing wheel. And some goodies. A lot of sandpaper in those drawers down there. One other thing about these upper cabinets I'll show you guys. I'm a short fella. This is about the only angle I can show you this at. The glare is blocking it otherwise. This is a playing card that John Wayne shot a hole in while he was making his final movie, The Shootist. And he signed it. John loved doing woodworking, in case y'all didn't know that about him. And heading off into the second portion of the wood shop. Immediately off here to the left is the sharpening area. I've got two Tormacs and a Robert. The cabinet doors are built of purple heart, walnut, and yellow heart, if I remember correctly. Again, the glare might not let me show you. There you go. A knife that was owned by John Wayne and used in one of his movies. I forget which one. Right here next to the cased opening is some wood storage with 3 scroll saws. That way you can keep 2 different blades set up without having to change all the time. One of them I usually have a scrap sanding belt cut up and stuck in it for detail sanding. I think that's what's in this one. Yeah. Oh, this is one of those pre-made belts. Berto must have stuck it on there. And the deep scroll saw. Right behind the scroll saw, we have the router table. It has 3 heads. The cast iron beds are from Rockler. All the rest is shop built. I believe there are 2 Horse porta cables underneath all 3 of those. Well, actually I know they are. I put them there. We have some small sanders along this side. And a grinder with this portion of the shop's dust collector. And again, a bunch of those antique tools I love. These Delta air filters. I don't believe Delta makes these anymore, but Matic makes a very nice one. Off to the left we have a long sideways belt sander. And the square hole jig, the inline mortise machine. That thing, if you don't know what that is, it makes those pegs for adjustable shelves. The Craig pocket hole jig, the multi-tool, and a sander. You might note all of these tools are close together, but they're all also on slides, 500-pound, 2-foot tracks. They pull out where you can easily use them. The fans are faced towards the door. Keeps a nice breeze going through here. Got the TV above where I can watch you guys on YouTube learning how to do things. Little wood storage behind the sander here. This is a Supermax 2-head. Then the flammable cabinet, of course. Some turning goodies. Some projects I've got drying. I keep most of all the burrs down below. These are all bird's eye maple up there on the top. over here on the front side of that little Supermax. Then I have 2 of the pressure pots built on the wall and 2 sitting down loose. Well, actually 3. There's another big one over there somewhere. Out here in the center is where the sanders, Festool sanders, are set up, and the rest of the Festools get used. Behind that is that Delta belt sander. These little guys also slide out, where they're easier to work with. Up above them's a little bit of storage. I think I've got some glitters in here and stuff. And finally over here is a little collection I'm working on. I've got about 135 species of wood. There are about 60,000 species of wood on our planet. And there's about 1,500 of those that you can actually get a usable wood product out of. And I've got 135 of them. They're partly clear coated so you can see what they look like. And they also pull right off the wall with the Velcro. There we go. I've got a list of all the ones that I have, and I'll put that up on the website. So if any of you guys have one I don't have and you'd like to send a sample, I would love to have it, and I'll put your name on it. Hey there, sorry about being such a lousy cameraman, but I promise I'll get better in the future. I did a few resin wood castings and made some lamps out of them. They turned out quite nicely, but unfortunately I didn't think to take any pictures of the finished products, so I'll show y'all a couple of the castings, and gonna show you a few stills around the shop and of some projects that I've finished. So hope you like them, and I'll be back. Hello again. Hope y'all enjoyed watching that. I'd just like to say, again, I know I do things a bit over the top and a lot of unnecessary stuff. You don't need to build cabinets out of exotic wood, but that's the way I like it. I wouldn't be happy if I didn't. I know a lot of people's shops are different. I have a lot of friends that have shops that aren't so organized, aren't so neat, and they very happily work that way, and I commend them. My hat's off to them. I wish I could be that way, but I'm not. I like it to look nice, I like it to look pretty, so that's the way I keep it. I apologize for my lousy filming skills, but I'm working on them. I'm going to be doing some more videos showing some detailed things in the shop that I think y'all find quite interesting. And I will be doing some videos on my projects that I make from now on and letting y'all take a look-see. I'm going to add a link at the bottom, in the bottom of the video, where you can see the list of those wood samples that I have on the wall. Again, they're roughly about, well, they're exactly 3 inches by 12 inches by a little over a ½ inch thick. So if you happen to have a scrap species of wood that I don't have, I would love to have it to put it on the sample wall, and I'll put your name on it. And if you've got any of those old woodworking tools that aren't precious to you and you want to get rid of them, and I'd love to display them. I just love the way it looks. So feel free to send them. I'm putting an address on the bottom of the wood list there. So, been a pleasure. Be seeing y'all here in the future. Be safe. Talk to you in a bit now.